Hey everybody, it's Paul.
And Shannon, behind the camera once again.
Yep. So we are going to talk some more about Disney today. Thank you everybody who watched the first video in Let's Plan a Disney Trip. For all the comments, you guys gave me some great questions. Hopefully I'm going to answer a couple of them today. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a Def Leppard t-shirt, I'm actually going to a concert tonight. Woo woo!
Not Def Leppard though.
No, Guns N' Roses. I'm really excited about that. They were one of my favorite bands when I was in late middle school, early high school. So I've never seen them before in concert. I'm glad that Slash and Axl Rose and Duff McKagan are back together again. I'm looking forward to seeing that. That was just a little side trip into my taste in music. But now we're going to talk about Disney. Today's topic is going to be places to stay at Disney World. So we're going to talk about hotels today. We're going to talk about the difference between the different price resorts and just some of the amenities that they offer. Real quick, Shannon and I have stayed at 5 different resorts on Disney property. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've only stayed at a few. Disney has a lot of different resorts on property, but we have stayed at a value resort, moderate, and deluxe. And I feel like we can kind of talk about the differences that you can expect there. Ultimately, where you decide to stay is going to be based on your personal tastes as well as your budget. So without further ado, let's talk about the different types of resorts on the Disney property. There's value resorts. Those are going to be the resorts that say All-Star in front of them. So currently there is the All-Star Movies, Art of Animation, Pop Century, Sports, and Music. I have notes down here that I'm looking at in case you see me looking down. So the value resorts are just that. They're resorts that are designed around the idea of giving a family a value-based place to stay. And overall, we have stayed at 2 of those different resorts. We stayed last time we went to Disney. We stayed in the value resort. We stayed at the music resort. And the other resort we stayed at was the first time we went to Disney World, which that was the movies?
Yes.
Okay. Both were nice. The All-Star resorts are just absolutely huge pieces of property. Something that we kind of noticed, and just our thoughts on it are this: you may end up having a room that is very, very far away from where the bus loop for the hotel is. So after walking all day long around the parks, that may be like the last thing that you want to do when you get back to the room at night, is take another really long walk just to get to the building that your room is in.
It is something to think about, because the first time when we stayed at the movies resort, how long of a walk would you say it was from the bus to where our room was?
It was a good, well, our kids were a lot younger then.
Yeah, well, I was going to tell the rest of that story, but...
Yeah, so, okay, Shannon's going to tell the rest of that story. I would say it was a good 8-minute walk.
Okay, and do that with a sound asleep 4-year-old that you have to carry because we didn't have a stroller, and a 7-year-old who's dragging. So it's something to think about. Yeah,
plus a backpack full of stuff and souvenirs and all that other
stuff.
So that we're kind of playing up the negative part of the value resort right there with that. But having said that, the value resorts are nice. The properties, all the Disney properties are neat because they're all themed. Their slogan for staying on the Disney property is "Stay in the middle of the magic." And I do believe that any of the properties that Disney World offers live up to that claim. So even the value resorts, they're all themed, they're all decorated really nicely. The rooms, there's nothing at all wrong with the rooms. The room we stayed in last time was great. In fact, the reason why we chose the value resorts last time is because last year when we went to Disney with our kids, that was the first year that we decided to get separate rooms. Every time before that, we had all 4 of us stayed in one room. And as our kids have gotten older, that has become less and less comfortable for us. So we got 2 rooms last time, and we really enjoyed that. And we found that we were able to get 2 of the rooms at the value resort for less than the price of 1 room at one of the mid-range moderate resorts. So your budget is definitely something to keep in mind with that. Especially, if you want to get multiple rooms, the value resorts may be the way to go. I enjoyed the pools at the last place we stayed, so, the
last place we stayed was nice.
Yeah, it was great. So, moving on, moderate resorts. The moderate resorts are just that. They're a step between the value resorts and the deluxe resorts. We have stayed at 2 moderate properties. We stayed at both of the Port Orleans properties. We stayed at the Riverside and the French Quarter. Of those 2, my favorite is French Quarter. Shannon liked Riverside the best. I just like the ambiance at the French Quarter. And maybe it's just the room that we had. I liked where it was positioned. It was very close to the bus loop, very close to the pool, whereas the room that we had at the Riverside wasn't very close to the lobby or to the pool or anything.
But the reason why I liked the Riverside better is because we drive when we go. We don't take the bus anymore. We take our car, and they have parking lots right next to your building. So it was super close.
Yeah, it was. And we'll get into the idea of driving versus riding the bus in a future video. That'll be in the extras video. Just more things to think about. So that was our experience at the moderate resorts that we stayed at. Just to list the moderate resorts, there's less of them now than there used to be. We'll talk about that in just a second. But there is the Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter, which I told you about. There's the Caribbean Beach Resort. There's the Coronado Springs. And then there's a new place called the Cabins at Fort Wilderness. While we're on talking about that, we'll just talk about Fort Wilderness. That's a campground. Shannon and I have never been there. We're not camping people. Camping's just not really our thing. But if you like camping, that's a great option that Disney World offers. It's not very expensive to be on Disney's property. You're right there, again, in the middle of everything. It's very economical from what I understand. But we've never been and done that, so I'm not really sure what that entails or what that offers. But that's another option for those of you who are camping inclined. So I said that moderate resorts, that there's less and less of them. We'll just move right into deluxe resorts, and there's a long list of those, and this list used to be shorter. I think what Disney has done is they have moved some of the moderate resorts into the deluxe category. So the deluxe resorts have the Grand Floridian Hotel, the Polynesian Resort, the Contemporary Resort. Now those 3 are all what are called monorail resorts. Those are all resorts that are around the Magic Kingdom's monorail line, so you can take the monorail to get to the Magic Kingdom. And in the case of the Contemporary Resort, you can actually walk to the Magic Kingdom, and that's the monorail and being within walking distance, that's a big benefit. I really can't overstate how much of a benefit that is. Shannon can talk about that in just a second. We have not stayed at any of those resorts, but we would like to. Wilderness Lodge is also a deluxe resort. We've stayed there once before, and we're staying there again. Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Beach Club, the Boardwalk Inn, and the Yacht Club are now all in the deluxe resort category. I think those 3 used to be moderate resorts. So let's talk about what the different resorts offer. So the value resorts we talked about, you get basically a room, and you get theming and everything else. Sorry, Shannon's about to crack up behind the camera here. It's tough to look at her and keep a straight face.
So I'll just tell you really quick, you guys, if you know our new cat, Callie, we have the tripod right now resting on
a cat tree.
A cat tree, and she was about to jump up on the cat tree and saw the camera, and she hissed at it, and she's about to attack the camera.
She's about to bop it.
She's afraid of it. She doesn't know what it is.
Sorry if the camera was shaking. It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, the value resorts are great. The moderate resorts are a step up from the value. The value resorts have a restaurant inside them, but it's a counter service restaurant. We'll talk about what the different levels of restaurant experience are.
Yeah, they're like food courts.
Yeah, the counter services are like a walk up, like you grab a tray, pick what you want off the tray. Yeah, that's the kind of place that food option is available at the value resorts. The moderate resorts have that same food option available, but in addition to that, they will have 1 or more restaurants on site, sit-down restaurants. The deluxe resorts will have the walk-up counter service cafeteria type of food option. They will also have a sit-down restaurant, and usually they'll also have a signature dining experience where characters are available. So, like, just to give you an example, Polynesian has Ohana, which is one of our favorite restaurants. Grand Floridian has
1900
Park Fare, which is a great buffet.
And that's a character
a character buffet. Ohana's a character experience for breakfast and for lunch. For dinner, which is our favorite meal, it's different. And the Contemporary Resort has Chef Mickey's, which is a favorite of parents of younger children. We'll talk more in detail about all those restaurants during the dining video, but just to kind of give you an idea of when you say deluxe, that's kind of what you're getting. In addition to that, the moderate resorts and the deluxe resorts have themed pools. The pool experience is a lot different than at the value resort. There's usually some more amenities on site, but really you're kind of paying for location and the ambiance. The deluxe resorts, most of those, at least the ones that I know of, the ones that we've been in, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Wilderness Lodge, Contemporary, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, those are all designed like hotels, where it's a big, like, enclosed structure, and then the rooms kind of branch off of that. Whereas, like the moderate resorts that we've stayed at, as well as the value resorts, they're designed more like a motel, where you have a centralized front desk and office system, along with your food court, and then outside of that are a bunch of separate buildings with the rooms on the outside. The doors are on the outside. So you're kind of when you're buying a deluxe or a moderate room, you're kind of paying for those different experiences, and that's just a personal choice. One's not better than the other; it's just what you're more comfortable with. I'll give you just an example of a couple trips we've taken. I told you about the last trip we took, where we did the value resort and we got 2 different rooms. That's why we chose the value resort. It fit into our budget for that trip we were taking. The trip we're about to take, we're going to stay at Wilderness Lodge. The reason why we chose that was because Shannon found a favorite breakfast place for Disney World, which is the Whispering Canyon Cafe. She loves the Eggs Benedict there, and breakfast is her favorite meal of the day. So we wanted a hotel that was convenient for a breakfast option, because one of our least favorite things about our trip last time was getting up and taking a long car ride, or an even longer bus ride if you're doing that, to get to a hotel with a food option that we wanted to have. And so staying in a hotel that had the food that we wanted to eat was important to us for breakfast. For lunch and for dinner, we're planning on traveling, but for breakfast, we did not want to do that. The other thing was, because we are going to be going down there with my mom and dad this year, I wanted a lobby experience that was a little bit different, because, we're going to be in separate rooms. At the end of the day, or before the day starts, we don't want to hang out in like one another's room, because the rooms are just not designed to hang out in very well. I don't think. They're fine to sleep in, but in terms of hanging out,
they're nice, but everybody would have to sit on the bed to talk.
Yeah, and that's just not comfortable. So I wanted a lobby setup that was nice for if you wanted to be together as a group, not in the parks, not at the pool, but just kind of wanted to hang out in a chair. The Wilderness Lodge has a great lobby.
Beautiful.
Beautiful lobby, and it's just a nice place to kind of sit and relax in. And so that was something that was important, so that's why we chose that. Okay, now on to some of your comments and stuff from the last video. This is a great time to bring this up. I said some of the benefits of staying on site are, number one, you can use the Disney motor coach system, which is the bus. It's a fancy term for bus service. You get free parking at the parks if you're driving. That's going to be an important perk. But the big thing I got a lot of comments on, and I do want to take a minute to address this, is I said that the big perk for us was being able to book your dining reservations 180 days in advance, and the people who were staying off-site weren't able to do that. So I got a lot of comments regarding that. I was wrong when I said that. I don't know if things changed, or I don't know if I just misunderstood things from before, but anyone, regardless of where you are staying in Orlando, or even if you just live in Orlando, you can book a reservation 180 days in advance. You don't have to stay on site. However, an advantage of staying on site is this: 180 days from the day that you check in to your trip, you can book your dining reservations, but you can book your dining reservations for an additional 10 days. So what that means is you could technically book 190 days out. So if you think about that, think about all the many thousands of rooms that Disney has on site that people stay at. They are all encouraged to utilize the system to book 180 days in advance, as well as that advance notice. Those people are all taking up the popular reservation restaurants and or times. That means by the time 180 days comes, you may not be able to eat at a certain restaurant, or certainly you're probably not going to be able to eat at maybe the time that you want to eat. And this is something that we have experienced every trip that we've taken. Always the first day of our trip, which is the 180th day out, we are always eating at like a weird time because we want to eat at more popular restaurants. Just a quick list would be like Ohana, Le Cellier Steakhouse, Be Our Guest, Chef Mickey's. You know, you're going to end up taking a time that is not a main dining time for those restaurants. So like Ohana, you might be eating at 10 o'clock at night instead of 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Been there, done that lots of times.
We've done that lots of times. If you want to eat at that location, you're willing to take that time. Now, what's funny is later on in our trip, because of that advanced booking, we can get those great times. But when we take those times, that means the next person in line can't get it because we're staying on site and somebody else may not be. So that's just something to really think about, really consider.
It makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference for the enjoyment of your trip if eating where you want to eat is part of your experience. And we have found that that's a big part of our experience. So that's a good reason for that. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. We talked about budget last time around, and I know I've mentioned it a couple times this time, but something to think about is Disney is always running discount deals on their site. I'm not talking about going to some other site that's advertising Disney deals. I don't have any experience with those personally, but I don't recommend them.
But you can get deals through like travel agents.
Yeah,
and
through
stuff.
A travel agent, no problem. But I just mean through like, clicking on Google and Disney deals or Discount Disney. There's all kinds of sites. I've checked some out, but I just don't trust them. But we have always been able to get discounts through Disney because Disney, even during really popular times of travel, they offer discounts. Now, they may not offer a discount when you originally book your trip, but they will always apply a discount if one becomes available for you. Not every property is discounted all the time. We're finding that out for this trip that we're planning for this year, Wilderness Lodge. They're going through some renovations, some construction, so they actually have a low inventory of rooms for the fall. They're not discounting the rooms, even though they're running a fall promotion. So, unfortunately for us, because we want to be near the restaurant that we want, because we want the lobby, we're going to pay the price. But if we wanted to stay somewhere else, if we were flexible with that, we could get a discount on our room for going when we wanted to go. So that's something to keep in mind. Always check back, see what deals are available for when you're going. Another thing with staying there, one of the most popular deals is free dining. That's something that's offered every now and then, and that's kind of like the holy grail of discounts. We'll talk about that a lot more during the dining episode, which I'm looking forward to. I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. Anything else?
Yep, I just had one little note where Paul said that if a discount becomes available after you've already booked, he said that they would apply the discount. That is accurate, but you will have to call and ask for that discount to be applied. They do not automatically apply the discount to a previous booking.
That's correct.
Thank you. Stay on top of that and make sure that there aren't any deals that pop up that you need to call and get applied.
Yeah, and we've done that personally a couple times. It works out, no problem. They're really good about it. And their people know exactly how that works. So anyway, I think that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave comments regarding any questions for future things, any topics you would specifically like us to discuss. And yeah, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.